Okay, good afternoon, students. This is the second session for audience with you. Of course, we had the first one some time back, and we could discuss some of the preliminary aspects of farm machinery. I am sure you must have gone through the different weeks lectures which are already delivered and which has been given to you through the assignments. And I am sure you might have had several questions and several clarifications required. In this regard, we wanted to have a session with you to see as to what problems you are facing and what are your feelings about the lectures that have been delivered and what new things that are coming to your mind after you have heard to the lectures which are delivered to you during the last 8, 9, 10 weeks or so. We start as I have already said that we started with the concept of the basics of you can say the agriculture engineering. When we start plowing, right from plowing, that means the equipment for plowing. What is the mechanism behind the equipment for plowing? Then how the power of tractor is utilized through its wheel and the equipment which are attached behind the tractor, and the total power required. In fact, the total power required by the tractor for a particular equipment is varying from equipment to equipment, and it has been the case that we are not in a position to actually utilize the full power of the tractor. That I might have told you when I discussed the lecture on the traction with regard to the equipment and the soil. And we also discussed as to what is the strength that we generate from the rear wheel of the tractor and what is the role of the front wheel of the tractor. And after that we went to different equipment, and then after the equipment we went to different roles of this equipment in different operations like field preparation, then leveling, then seeding. After seeding, the plant has grown up, we are talking of the interculture operations. Then we are talking of plant protection operations, and then we talk of when it is matured, we talk of harvesting, and then of course transportation and threshing. Now, in this respect, we have also gone from the primitive machinery and the basics which were there initially to the advanced one, where we have used advanced technology to venture into the problems of the different operations like seeding operation, harvesting operation, some of the difficult crops which are difficult to operate by human being, some of the spraying operations which we have used through the equipment which are automatic, and which one economize on the total spray that we are giving. Now, on these aspects we have started from the fundamentals to up to the start of the drones. We have talked of drones. I don't know whether you have gone through that lecture or not, but I think we have talked of drones. We are talking of image processing. We are talking of embedded systems, and we are talking of even artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, in this respect, several questions have come to us, and we will also like to get some more questions as the session progresses here. There is one interesting question which talks of the how to know the efficiency of a cono weeder. In fact, this is one good thing that when we are talking of efficiency of a cono weeder, this is a very tricky thing. You must have thought that cono weeder is operated in lowland condition, and as such for a dryland condition it is very simple that in a 1 square meter area we find out as to what is the existing number of weeds. We can count the weeds, or you can take the weights of the weeds, and then after the equipment is operated, whatever may be the equipment, when it is operated, what are the leaves or what are the grasses which are left, we measure and then say that okay, the out of the total how much is actually left, and hence the difference is that those are already taken care of. So, we would like to find out the the ratio of how much was existing and how much are actually weeded out. Now, in case of water, yes, you would think that what happens. See, for the conoweeder, in fact, the conoweeder, what does it do? Actually, it uproots the weeds, because these weeds are there. You must have seen that when we are planting paddy, in between the row crops, there will be several unnecessary plants, means those weeds will be there, but they will be standing in the water. And when we operate the weeder to and fro, you will find that they are uprooted. So, it is on the basis of, if you mark a particular area and then operate the weeder and see how much are operated. If most of them are operated, in fact, the concept is that once they are operated, and they will be losing the soil, and hence they will get dried up, and then because of the sun, and they will be removed, and they will not have any effect on the nutrient sharing from the main crop. And that is why a similar concept, except that here you have to mark it and see the ones which are floating. That is the concept. In the other case, you had dry matter or the number of weeds which are left behind. You can see that the weeds which were there and the weeds which have been left. So, the difference will give you how much weeds are already taken care of or removed. So, the removed divided by the ones which are there will give you a ratio. Now, in case of paddy weeder, you will have to do the ones which are floating. The floating ones are supposed to have been removed from there, and the ones which are still standing, you should know that they have not been operated, or they have not been touched, or they are still with the soil, and hence they will be sharing the nutrients of the plant. So, this is the same concept has to be applied. Only thing, I know what was there in your mind. You must have thought that what should I do? It is already water, but you have to take those ones which are uprooted. Now, there is another interesting is application of artificial intelligence and machine learning in agriculture. This is a very broad question which has been asked, but yes, this is one important area of research, and every field, of course, AI and ML is going to be used. Even at IIT Kharagpur, we have a center of excellence in artificial intelligence and machine learning, and through that we want to apply the concept of this into non-computer science areas like agriculture engineering, mining engineering, civil engineering. Anywhere that we can think of, this can be utilized. Even for language processing, we should be able to convert one language into another language and things like that. Now, here in artificial intelligence, let me tell you something. See, what is this artificial intelligence? If I say I am a human being, so I have certain intelligence level, I can see a particular thing, then I can perceive certain idea, then I can take some action. So, similar thing here, maybe that you will have to recognize the problem, then assimilate the problem, then take certain actions, and after that you will try to communicate to this. And if you are moving, or if this item, if these are added along with these, if movement is added, then it becomes a drone. That means an artificial machine which has an intelligence, which it can see, process the information, and then take an action depending upon what knowledge it has, the previous knowledge which has. So, the same thing is done in this. The sensors are doing that. The sensor takes an information, either takes an image, then it takes the image, then compares that, restores the image, and compares the image with previous data, and then tries to take a decision on that, and that decision has to be communicated. So, you communicate it in terms of the machine language again, and if it is a speech, as in the case of robot. So, robot does the task when an advice is given, either in the form of a speech or in the form of any information which is shown in the blackboard, or anything which he sees. So, it is just like that. You have to scan the material or see the thing, then process in the mind, and then take a decision, communicate that decision. Now, same thing here. Now, how can you apply in agriculture? I tell you a very big example. Sometimes when we have weed infestation, or sometimes we have insect and pest infestation, what do? We, if we know where it is, suppose you have put about 10 hectares of land and totally planted with any crop, either a fruit crop or a vegetable crop, and you want to know the health of that. So, you have either manually you go to that each and every plant and have a look at it, or you can have a drone which will carry a camera and go through the whole plants, and after that it will bring back the whole plant information of the whole 10 acre or 15 acre, whatever is that area. Once you see that, you will be in a position to identify that, okay, what is the general color. That means this data, lot of data has to be created for that, and that data it will compare with the previous data, that if it is in good condition, this should be the color of the leaf or of the stem or of the fruit, and if it is infested, this is the color. So, it will compare and say that this is the extent of infestation which has taken place either to the fruit or to the leaves, and it will give you an idea about the infestation. So, once you know that, because it will be easier for you if you give a camera to a drone which goes and takes the information. So, it will take an image, recognize that item. After it has recognized, it will compare. You have to write a software, you have to write a algorithm as to what is the task, what sort of information you want to add it to. So that it will then compare with the information which is available embedded in it initially, and it will compare and tell you that this is the exact thing has been. So, this is what is the artificial intelligence and then machine learning. The machine would like to learn what you are trying to tell it, just like human being. When we have to pick up a task, when we do a task, actually more of training is given in any task. If you are going to become a pilot, I think a training is given for a certain duration of time, because your interaction with the machine, your acquaintance with the machine, and the nitty-gritty and the important items and uniqueness of that machine is told to you during this period, and then you are tested also that, okay, if you have known the machine, how you will operate the machine and what sort of actions you will take in a given situation. So, that is what is told by the machine learning when we are talking of, and it has a bright future in agriculture, engineering and agricultural crops, because as you can see that people are not available, although we have a large population, but for agriculture people are not available. And even when we are going for multi-cropping, when we are going for several income generation aspects of cropping we are taking, maybe we can take a cereal crop, we can take a fruit crop, vegetable crop, and we can take horticulture crops like fruits, etc. And you can also think of say net set cultivation, when unseasonal crops when you want to grow. Now, there you will require these knowledge and the information, and the requirement of the people by their own eyes identifying a particular thing and then taking a decision. I think such a thing will take a long time. So, these machines will help us or these aids will help us in taking a decision faster, and then it will help you to identify quickly, because once the crop is infested, you must immediately act on that and take an action and see that the sprays are given, or the proper spraying of a chemical or a particular insecticide, pesticide is given, so that it takes care of the infestation and stops the growth of those pests and insects, and it stops the damage of the crop or the fruit, whatever it is. So, if the farmer is thinking of a modern agriculture, yes, the future farmers in next 10 to 15 years of time, I am sure this is going to be there, and people will be required, but people will be required for manning these equipment and the whole internet of things which will be there for doing these tasks. So, do not think that these equipments are going to displace people. They are not going to displace people. In fact, they will be requiring people's knowledge into these, and the manual, more and more manual knowledge will be required for something else, maybe tractor driving. Even today also people are thinking of tractors without drivers, autonomous tractors people are thinking of, because these are the futuristic technology which you have to think of. So far we had not thought what will happen today, that everybody is having a small telephone in his pocket, and depending upon various situations, you can talk to a person, you can communicate, you can pass on a document so fast anywhere in the world, which was not thought of about 15 years back. So, you do not know what will happen 10 years, but we should be positive and we should take these in our stride and try to learn more and more. I would say that not only the computer science people, but even the people who are in agriculture engineering in different branches, they should also pick up these aspects of artificial intelligence and machine learning and apply in their field. And at least at IIT Kharagpur, as I told earlier, that we are going to apply into each and every field of branch of engineering for various applications. So, agriculture will definitely be one of them. Well, somebody has wanted single acting, double acting and offset disc harrow. Yeah, these are actually, if you have seen the operation of a single acting disc harrow and double acting disc harrow, you see that when single acting it throws the soils in one direction, and double acting throws the soil in the opposite direction. So, you will find that when this double acting is working, you will find the soil collected in the begin in the middle of these. And in fact, better churning takes place because one follows the other, and you are one following the other, better churning takes place. One is throwing in one direction, the other is flowing in other direction, but the proper movement of the particles, I mean the distribution of particles, or you can say the breaking of those clots takes place faster in one go itself if you have a double acting. And if you are talking of a offset disc harrow, well, the offset disc harrow is offset, you can see that the line of action of this is offset to the actual line of movement of the tractor. If you draw the center line of action, the tractor, the implement is offset at a certain value from the center line. And that is why these offset disc harrows are most used for orchards, because the tractor can be on the side and the equipment can be closer to the base of the that plant or the tree, and you can clean and plow that land if you want to grow something below that bigger size plant. So, the action of double acting, single acting is that they are better pulverization you get, and offset disc harrow, this is doing this task of that, but slightly offset with the line of action. So, in fact, the if you see the line of motion of the tractor is one line, then it is offset at a certain distance. I must have given you the distance exact value. I do not want to tell a wrong value, but you can see the value how much is this. And this is properly balanced. You should not think that it is giving a torque onto that. No, it is properly balanced with this. Then there are certain questions somebody has given. Is there any possibility of damaging groundnut or any root crop by wheels of tractor and equipments that attached by PTO during harvesting? Well, groundnut or root crop, any root crop, etc., when we know that these are the equipment, PTO driven equipment which are used for uprooting of this or harvesting of these root crops. Well, generally these are rowed in the, you can see that you must have seen how these are grown. You will find that there are furrows where the tractor will move and there are elevations made. On those elevations, you see that the crops are planted. If you have marked in the photograph that I have taught you, or the if you go back to the lecture, you will be in a position to see that there is enough space for the tractor wheels to grow. Well, if they do not, that is not given and somebody has just grown just like that, then definitely there will be a damage to these the plants when the tractor wheels are going. But generally this is not so. In fact, these are so maintained that the tractor can go, and within the width of the tractor is the blade, and that blade, in fact, it has a particular action. What does it do? Initially it chops off the first portion if you are talking of say a root crop, okay, and then next is loosen the soil to the extent possible, and then uproot that, so that it is easily uprooted, and after it is uprooted, then it is transferred to rod and chain type of conveyor belt, you can say, and on that conveyor the separation of the soil takes place from the potatoes, if you are talking of that. In case of groundnut, the whole plant itself is taken, and then it is later on it is threshed. You must have seen in my video which I have given of threshing of this. So, the damage are generally not to the extent until unless there is no space for the tractor to move. Otherwise, this is very pretty well planned, the whole activity, and it does a good job. What is the efficiency of equipment for harvesting of groundnut digger? Yes, I showed you that efficiency, of course, equipment that uses in root crop harvesting. In fact, if you talk of the generally we say that most of the crops is lifted or should be lifted, but we do not get full 100% of that. Some of these are left, but many a times the uprooting is done to a great extent. I can say that uprooting is up to 90%, but when you talk of collection of the whole thing and then actual collection into the bags which you put behind, or when it is collected, I would say that it has fairly good amount of harvesting efficiency, about 80-85% we can get that. And the level of damage, I think the level of damage, if it is not properly, if the blade is not properly stationed with respect to the soil and with respect to its movement, and the inclination is not proper, generally half slips are used. So, what will happen is then the damage could be quite high, even up to the about 20-25% or so. But generally these are properly done. Nowadays the equipment are very nicely maintained about this, and we do not have such damages. Minimum damages are there, but the aim is to minimize the damage, to make it zero, which is not to a great extent possible, but then we minimize to the extent possible. Okay. And when we are talking of the efficiency, this is what I said, 80-85% efficiency you can expect from these devices. Then we had a series, I will come to these questions. Another questions which are coming in front, I have some questions already which are there, so please excuse me. That was, those questions were there from some of the students. Now this is another set of questions. I will come to all the questions and answer them. Somebody, Rahul Jadhav is a student. He is asking, in recent agricultural bill can affect in farm machinery industries? If yes or no, please explain why. Well, I am yet to read the whole agricultural bill that somebody is talking of. I do not know how you are relating this to farm machinery industries. In fact, the farm machinery industries are going to make a lot of business. Barring this pandemic which has stopped everything, please if you do not consider this pandemic, as such agricultural machinery industry is going to make a future for itself, because we do require machinery, and for each and every operation. You can see that various crops are there where we do not have equipment for each and every operation, and the requirement is that we should be in a position to have equipment for each and every operation. Maybe that power source is same, and we can have the attachments, so that when we start right from the field preparation to harvesting, we should have the same power source with several attachments. So, this equipment is these farm machinery equipment is going to have a future for this. Please do not think that there will not be any future, but I have not read the bill that you are talking of, and what does it say about few industries. Well, remember that these farm machinery equipment are required very much in other countries, in African countries and all that, and some of our manufacturers are also selling in those countries. Now, why it will not have future in India? I am sure 100% that they are going to have future in India. Please do not get disheartened because of this, but I do not know what exactly is written in the agricultural bill regarding machinery. I am sure nobody will say that to stop the machinery and put all people on to work. It is not possible, and because there are other avenues where people are going, they are picking up education, going for higher and other different types of jobs, which is also required. They are getting training, they are getting skill training, and they are going to earn more and more. So, In this, if this has to be taken as a business, and therefore, you have to use the higher technology, high-ended technology in order that you produce more out of the same land. Remember, I had told you right in the beginning of my first lecture that it is the land which is shrinking, and therefore, from the same land to have more and more productions, that means you will have to increase the vertical area. Virtually, increase in area has to be done only by having more and more crops from the same land, and that is only possible when you complete all the operations in time and with good quality harvest, and therefore, you will have to use the technology. Whether it is farm machinery, and the machines which will be used will have several sensors, several automations. They are going to be there, and there is going to be a future of these industries. I explain about modern farm machinery. In fact, this is what I was saying, that modern farm machinery, whatever you are talking of, more and more automation is going to take place in each and every aspect of cultivation. You have to think, as I said earlier, you have to think of this as a business industry. And then only if you are thinking of, say, just you want to have root crop, say for example, if you want to have carrot, if you want to only talk of potato, if you want to only talk of carrot, then you will have to have machinery which will, you can plant properly, you can uproot those carrots properly, you can release the soil from the carrot properly, you can wash that carrot properly and see that it is not damaged, minimum damage, and hence you can get a export quality carrot. So, you will need technology, because you will not get enough human beings, because the output which you want in period of time for the cleaning, etc., manually this cannot be done. It will be done, but it will require a lot of time, and you do not have that time. And that is why if you take as a business, if you want to talk of one, I have just given an example of carrot. Similarly, if you want to take up any other example, you will have to depend on the technology. You do require some of the people, but you will require them at a higher level. That means they will be in a position to man these equipment, maybe a tractor driver who will be able to adjust in these aspects of movement of the tractor. See, take information and process the information and all that. Maybe intelligent person will be required as a driver, not a driver earlier who was simply knows only driving. So, and you will need other people to market your products, you will need people to look into the repair and maintenance of these equipment, you will require people for having the whole business into place for various aspects of the storage of the equipment, storage of the fruits, then transportation of the fruits, vegetables, plants, flowers, whatever you are taking. So, technology has to be there, and this is going to be the modern farm machinery that we are thinking of. Modern farm machinery will be laced with sensors, it will laced with intelligent information processing items. So, I am sure this is going to be there. Then Vidyut Mondal, Namaste sir, I am PhD scholar with Hanshin. I have questions to you. What is the future policy of government for low cost harvesting machinery technology? In fact, as I said in the earlier, explaining the earlier questions, you see that small machinery, now you have to take a call on this particularly, because when you talk of small machines, see, you cannot talk of a 1 hectare machine for only 1 hectare, because you need, if you have a one power source and have these equipment, you will require, but the cost of that from harvesting, from field preparation to harvesting will be quite high. It will not be within the capacity of that farmer, and that is why we are talking of medium sized machines which will help a group of farmers, or maybe 4 hectare, 5 hectare and beyond that. And these farmers, you can take help of that by just paying, because if he has a half acre land, then harvesting of that will require about 10-15 minutes or so, and he can pay on the basis of that minute charges which will require. It will be very cheap for him. He will not get persons, he will require at least 2 persons for 2-3 days, but he will pay a small amount of money and get the thing harvested, just if it is used for a crop harvesting machinery. So, you will have to have a trade off between you want to have a small machine or you want to go for this. What is the policy, future policy of government? Actually, what will be the future policy of the government? Only government can answer that. But what I can see from the last 20 years and what is the future, we can always say that we have to have medium-sized technology, and these small farms can also use those machines at a very cheap rate. They need not own the machines, and that is where farmers can come together, and you can have a small cooperative where you can have a set of machines, and you can take loan from the bank and then have a set of machines which you can complete your operation within time and also help others. So, this is going to be as far as my knowledge goes, as far as my thinking goes, I think this is what is going to happen. I do not know what government policy will take, only the government can talk about that. Please explain plantation machineries. Well, when you are talking of plantation machinery, I do not know what you will be talking. Actually, plantation, when you talk of planters are there, you have planters for vegetables, you have planters for other crops which are there, like potato planter and all that, and other machinery when you are talking of. See, I have already given in my explanation in the lecture which is there. I do not know what extra you want to know, but what is important is what is the preparation of the seed. If you are talking of, say, potato, you have to see how to prepare the seed, how to meter the seed, and when what happens, a lot of damage takes place only while metering the seeds, and therefore, you have to be careful. What we differentiate between seed drill and planter is that we are planting, that means we are putting the seeds at certain interval of time rather than just drilling it over a length. So, we want to maintain, because there is a zone for each one of them. Each plant will require its own zone of the soil and the roots, and it will grow. And it has been seen that if you do not maintain that, you are going to lose on the crop, because the total health, it will not develop its own health if the plant is not maintained at that. And the agronomist has given some idea about this, that how much plant to plant distance should be maintained, how much row to row distance should be maintained for any plantation crop that you are talking of. The different types of machinery. Machinery here would be the machines which are which attached behind the tractor, and either they are trailed ones which are there, or it can be operated by the PTO. It depends on what. If you are talking of precision planting, then also you will have to have the precision seeds. I mean, the seeds which are precisely put at that location. There are various types of the bell type ones which are used. The tape seeding used to be in the long some 50-60 years back, but we can say that when you are talking of plantation machinery, generally we are talking of putting those seeds at a proper place and at a speed when you are talking of, and hence the mechanism has to be designed. Already these machines are already available. You can go through that. We have also shown in our lectures what is the BIS regulation for harvesting. I do not know what exactly you mean by BIS regulations for harvesting. If you go to the lecture, I have talked of this Bureau of Indian Standards we have given, and what is the type of harvesting if you are talking, what sort of damage should be there, and what should be the design of the equipment. Even for thresher also we have talked of, and harvesting equipment. Please see all the details which are already given. Possibly you have not read the regulations. Each machinery we have say how to test a harvesting machine, how to test a threshing machine. I have also talked of that in my lectures. If the lectures are not completed, maybe you go through the whole all the lectures in all the 12 weeks, you will find that I have talked of that. And there offhand, I do not know exactly what is the question, but I can tell you that regulations, already BIS regulations are there, and we cannot add into that. We have to only see those regulations and follow, depending upon what should be the speed of operation, what should be the minimum say damage that we have to control, and what is the type of furrow opener, what is the type of you can say the blowers, all this if you are talking of harvesting machines. So, all these specifications have to be maintained, and they are being maintained by the these machines. GPS based harvesting technology is used for agriculture. Why? GPS based, yeah, these are the technology which are definitely going to be here. Geographical positioning system based harvesting technology. See, you would like to harvest. Sometimes if you are talking of harvesting of fruits, harvesting of large area, you will require this GPS knowledge, particularly about what is the condition of the crop, whether it is ready or not, or you will find out this information about the crop's health. So, harvesting technology is useful for agriculture. Yes, it is useful for agriculture. All these technologies are going to be the technology of the coming present and the future, next 5 to 7 years, I would say. Yes, it is, and why? Yes, they are going to be, because the human people are not available. Please remember, friends, that people are not available for these, and even if people are available, the time taken for completion of this job is very high, and the level of skill, the level of quality which you want to do, you can say that manually you can check something, certain aspects, that how many fruits are good quality, but the machine will check various parameters, and with the embedded data into it, using artificial intelligence, we should be in a position to do online, and that online will be tough job if you have to do. You will have to first check up that, and then you have to do either harvesting or threshing or whatever you are talking of with this. So, GPS and GIS has to be used in the whole technology, because that will talk of the details of the location of the equipment and its condition of the crop. All this information the tractor driver or the owner would like to have in front of his monitor to talk of all this. Then explain seeding equipment. Well, please explain seeding equipment. Seeding equipment, similar thing like planting. Here also you have to see what is the type of the seed, what is the shape of the seed, size of the seed, and then what type of metering mechanism. So, depending upon the type of seed and the vulnerability of the seeds and the softness of the seed, you have to think of the seeding mechanism, metering mechanism, so that when it while transporting or while it is being seeded, it does not get damaged. Otherwise, if it is damaged, and then the plant germination will be poor, and that is why you have to think of seeding equipment. Seeding equipment, whenever you are going to design seeding equipment, think of what is the size of the equipment you want to have. I mean, how much, whether you want to have a tractor driven, what sort of power you want to have, whether you want to have a small power or a tractor drawn machine. Then you will want to have what should be the size of the machine, then you will think of what should be the total hopper of that, and at what speed you want to operate, depending on the type of crop, whether you want to make a single crop one or you want to make multi-crop seeding equipment by changing the plate, you can do that. So, you will have to have all these considerations when you are going to design a seeding equipment. Yeah, methods of heat treatment. Of course, there are various methods of heat treatment. This is a method by which we treat any material so that it becomes stronger. It becomes stronger in strength, and it can sustain a lot of load. It is not brittle. It is ductile. I mean, so many things are given to it, and the processes are various processes. I have talked of case hardening. We have talked of you can use various methods of heat treatment. I need not go into details of heat treatment. I have talked of this in the lecture which is given about heat treatment and the type of heat treatment. I have also talked of the different types of materials and the temperature at which these are heat tempering is done, and what is the duration in which, when you are talking of the say forging when it is done, or heat treatment when the material is heated up to a certain period and then it is submerged into either oil or some other liquid, and then accordingly the strength and the duration up to which it has been to be done. These are the ones which talks of the change in the material as well as its strength and other parameters. So, this heat treatment is an important parameter in in the metallurgy, and it helps to gain on the strength of that part which is used for our equipment design. How to calculate a machinery depreciation? Yeah, you have purchased a machinery and the machinery is now virtually of no use to you, then there is a throw off value you can talk of. Then if you say that okay, throw off value is certain x and it was taken at bigger x, so bigger x minus small x, what is the period, divided by the total its life, divided life. This is a very simple way and a constant way of doing I can tell you, which is the fixed movement of depreciation. And there are other ways by which you can talk of this depreciation. You can consider various other aspects of this depreciation when you talk of the whole machine, right? And okay, please see, this also has been dealt with in detail. I am just giving you, trying to remind you where this is there, but you must go into details because I have talked of the examples and various examples that we have covered. Oh, those things are there, and you must see those examples. You must also take up the problems which have been solved and in the last chapter, and each and every chapter's problems are included over there. So, a problem on this is also there, that what is the depreciation, how what should be the decision one can take in having a tractor of this size or or two tractors of this size for a particular size of equipment, particular size of farm, and what should be the number of equipment or the machinery which has to be taken. I think each and every aspect has been discussed. Please go through that. You will be able to find out details. In fact, this will require the whole lecture. The whole lecture has been given on depreciation, on these machinery, cost of finding out the cost of machinery. It will help you. Say for example, if you have owned a machine and you want to find out how much should I charge if I have to rent it to somebody else for operation for 1 hour, 2 hours or so, then you will have to work out through this method of depreciation. You will see that if the life of the equipment is this much, if the life of whole tractor is this much, if I am putting 1 person for it. So, you will have to work on the total cost, fixed cost, operating cost. You have to fix, you have to take total, then depreciations and everything you have to take out, then find out what is the total cost that you are incurring per unit time, per unit hectare, and accordingly you can find out a cost of renting. So, this is essential, and as an engineer you should be having an idea about this, and that is why I have included this also in my lectures. Please go through that. I am sure you will get a good account of such a thing. Please, this is conservation agriculture. In fact, when we are talking of dry land agriculture, conservation agriculture is nothing but we are trying to maintain the moisture, because in those areas where you are not having so much of rain, but the moisture has to be maintained. So, when you talk of that, virtually we are talking of precision agriculture. You are conserving on every aspect of, whether you are talking of water, we are talking of the equipment or machine energy, you are talking of the seed energy, everything you are trying to conserve with regard to the output that you are getting. And hence conservation agriculture and precision agriculture are very close, you can say that. And this conservation agriculture, in general term, people are talking with respect to the maintenance of the moisture of the soil for longer duration of time. Conservation structure, conservation processes, or some of the items which are used, or maybe covering these the field itself. Some, if you have talked of some vegetables or fruits, if you have gone there, you have gone to some of the orchards, you will find that they do it. That means they are conserving that moisture there. But when we talk of conservation agriculture as such, it is a bigger domain, and there you will have to think of conserving every aspect of the input that you are giving, your seed energy, machine energy, water, and your time and total work time that you are involving in this. You should be thinking of that, and hence conservation agriculture is, I repeat, closer to precision agriculture. You should find out, you should be able to spend less money in maintaining the same moisture content, because that moisture content will help you. Otherwise, you will require water, and hence if you require water, you will require pumping, you will require conveyance. So, you will lose some energy in that, and therefore, you should be conserving water. which you are applying to the plant. Similarly, when you are conserving energy of the equipment, you should see that which equipment to be used. If you can think of the seed to be used, you should see that I do not lose seeds, and hence the proper seeding machinery has to be used, proper seeding mechanism has to be used. All these things will go into a broader aspect of conservation agriculture, whether you are talking of any crop for that matter. You can analyze this. See, the concept is that this concept has to be analyzed on each and every aspect of agricultural industry. I am saying industry in the sense that when you want to have a large scale and then you want to make a business of this becomes an industry. And yes, it is an industry. If you are thinking of cereal crops, you can think of that. You can think of producing cereal crops. You can think of polishing, harvesting, threshing, and after that storing, and then maintenance over a period of time and sell it when you require. Or if you want to make it maybe produce that, I mean use that produce for any plant for any product development or a food product development, you can have a machinery there. So, you can think of a whole ecosystem, and which will give you the talk of equipment that you are talking of. You are talking of conservation. Now, plant protection equipment and heat treatment. Of course, heat treatment I have talked of. Plant protection equipment. See, plant protection equipment. Now, plant protection equipments are several. If you start from the sprayers which you use for either dusting or for spraying onto that, and then of course high ended equipment like drones are being used for larger areas, for hill regions. Many things are available for these protection equipment. What are the equipment? There are several types of equipment. You can design the different type of equipment for this plant protection. If you are talking of you want to protect the plant, if you want to protect the plant even while weeding operation. When you have a weeding operation, you can have a machine which will only weed the remove the weeds in between the rows and intra rows, and it will not disturb the plant or not damage the plant. So, you can have a protection equipment like that. It protects the plant from here, it protects the plant from its insects and pests, diseases. So, all these aspects, when you are talking, when you check a plant and see that there is a coloring, discoloring of that leaves, you know that something has happened. So, you can think of a mechanism or a device or a machine which will go through these and try to spray there and see that those are rejuvenated, or the spread of that insect pest is hampered or arrested. This is what you can do. Now, what are the precautions of handling and mixing of pesticides and herbicides? Of course, when these are some of the things which skin related problems. So, when you are talking of mixing and handling of this, of course, you have to have protections of your hand and face, eyes. Now, these are the pesticides and herbicides. If a drop goes into your eyes or if you inhale that, I think these are going to create problem to your biological system, and therefore, you should think of handling them and mixing them properly with a lot of protection. You should have some PPE, plant protection equipment, which we are talking of. Those we should wear and then do it. People do not wear that, somehow they take a risk of it, but I think I would say that please do not do that and try to you be protective of yourself when you are handling these pesticides and herbicides, because they are harmful to us. Advanced spring machines for hill farming. Advanced spring machines for hill farming, I do not know what exactly spring machines you mean, but yes, advanced machine for hill farming, when we talk of, we have to have lighter machines for them. And if this equipment can be carried by one person at some location, or you can have a drone which will go there and do the job, not for cultivation, not for field preparation, particularly for field preparation. you have to have a equipment which is strong enough to go and churn the soil and uproot the weeds, etc., and prepare the field. But then for other hill farming, I would say that for other operations, you can use the high-ended technology. That is what we can say. But I don't understand this question of advanced spring machines. Maybe that you might have seen something, but I don't understand what the spring machines. What is this spring machines? Maybe that if you are talking of say harvesting of the fruits, etc., where springs are used, and then you can use that, maybe pull it up, and then the spring helps you in cutting the fruits or the plants, etc., or the flowers. If that is the thing, yeah, those are the devices which are already available, and you can make use of those devices. There is no problem with that. Advanced spring machines for hill. Discussion with the drainage machinery, benefit of recent agriculture bill for farmers and agriculture machinery production industries. Well, I think I need not talk about this bill for farmers, but one has to go into details of that. I would not like to put a word here, because farmers have understood one aspect of it, some other farmers have understood another, and possibly the to me it appears that the whole concept of the bill in which it has been made has not been understood by the farmers, and that is why a section says that they have understood, the other section feels that they have not been they have not understood, and that is why maybe they is there. But I think agriculture machinery production industries should not have problem. I think I have answered earlier a question like this. I would say that it has a bright future. It cannot say that we will stop. Yes, it will stop, provided you keep importing the machines. If you keep importing the machines, yes, you will have to stop these. But we have to think of, when we are thinking of Atmanirbhar, why should we not make machines? Our industries are there, who are making plows, who are making seed drills, who are making threshers. So why they should not be making other machines as well? The best is that import some of the good quality machines, do the re-engineering and make small machines or medium sized machines for our farmers, and make a business out of it, and see that you use your tractors, you use your power tillers or the power sources, self-propelled power source, if you want to use them, please do that. And that is what I would say to the production industries. They should not feel that no, there is no future. There is future, and there will be always future in this country, where we have large population. In fact, people are seeing business in India because of our population, because of our strength of this country. So please do not think that we have no business. In fact, we have every future of every industry for that matter. I would not say anything else on the recent agriculture bill, but I think the bill is not that bad. Possibly it is only a question of understanding the concept and what it is. And as I have heard in the TV, I can say that they want to see that directly the farmer can now sell his proceed anywhere in the country. It will be easier, instead of going to a place where somebody says that okay, I will take this at 1000 rupees instead of 1800, which is fixed the rate, and then the fellow, if he thinks that I have to go back today, then he gives it at that rate, and then he goes away. So ultimately the people who make a difference of 800, 1800 and 1000, somebody else is getting that money. So possibly these things are to be clarified to the farmers, if that is so. So I can say this much, I cannot make a statement. Already the minister is talking to the farmers, or will be talking to the farmers. Well, there are certain questions which are here. Sir, I have a query: uses of bulldozer in agriculture, classification of sprayers. What is this uses of bulldozer in agriculture? Yes, when you want to reclaim a land, that land is very stony, land is very bushy, and you want to cultivate that land, or you want to clear that land for any operation for that matter, whether you want to do it for agriculture operation, or you want to do for maybe house construction, or you want to do for any structure for storage structure, because I am an agriculture engineer, I would like to say you would like to do something on this, or you can think of any other, but the bulldozer is used for clearing of those, and it has a track type track. So, it is easier for it to move through the various curvatures of the land, and that is why bulldozers are good and they should be used, and they are being used as well. Classification of sprayers, well, you are talking of ultra low volume sprayer, then mid-sized sprayers, and then large volume sprayers. These are, and then you are talking of also the sprayers which are air assisted sprayers, and some of them are just sprayed the whole chemical, then ultrasonic sprayers, because the very depending on different types of mechanisms are used, different types of concepts are used in those designs. These are but if you say only classification of the large volume and small volume, micro volume like this. So, I have discussed these, you please go through that and you will be able to see exactly as to what I mean by ultra low volume and then large volume and so on and so forth that I have given. Then recent technology with IoT and remote sensing in agriculture machinery. Yes, recent technology IoT is going to be used. We have given example in one of our lectures that if you are an owner of about 10 tractors and a fleet of machinery and you are renting it to other people. So, by IoT you should be in a position to know from your place whether the tractor has operated for how much period of time. The other person may not tell you the truth, but if you have this Internet of Things and have the sensors fixed in your equipment, in your tractor, you will be able to know exactly what is happening to the fuel consumption, what is happening to the speed of operation and wheel slip, and all details you will have, and you will know that the tractor has operated for this much of time and hence you should be charging this. The person may say that no, it has not operated, but that is not the thing. You will be able to do it, and hence Internet of Things are going to be used, and it will be helpful for us for such work, even for any other. Say for example, if you are talking of knowing the moisture content of a large field, you have sensors, and then it will be connected through various gadgets, and you can know what is the depletion of the moisture over a period of time in that location or in this place. Or if you want to know how much of water has been given through a drip irrigation system, you can have sensors for that. These are the Internet of Things. That means things are connected, communicating itself. These Internet things or computer, in these software related items, we are electronic items which are there and communicating with each other to solve a problem. Sir, how can we get internship agriculture engineering under your guidance? Oh, that's internship of course is not possible now, but you can always get in my department, because since I am not now in a position to take up any student as such, but there are in the department of my department of agriculture and food engineering, there are faculty who can you write to them, and they will like to also give you internship. And even in this project, I think in this internship, in this NPTEL course, if you are in the first top 2, maybe you will be given a certain stipend, and you can come and work for about 2 months under my supervision, and another I can connect to another teacher. So, that is possible. Say mini tractors useful for small farmers, which are which area of India are successful. In fact, mini tractors are, see, when you talk of mini tractors, small big tractors, there has to be a power source. The size of the power source is important for that. And when you talk of this, the cost will be less, and hence the farmers who are in a position to use this, they will use for the small farms. And yes, it has, and not necessary that it will not be used in some areas. Yes, there is a problem using that in all the areas where the soil is very big, where the soil is strong, very strong, and you cannot use an equipment. There the horsepower size, you require higher horsepower size, and hence the if the horsepower is higher, then definitely you require a bigger size of tractor, and hence the areas which are having heavy soils, or the soils which are difficult to be operated or cultivated, those areas I think you should not go for the smaller tractors. Maybe smaller tractors could be used for orchards, could be used for spraying, could be used for plant protection, could be used for a seed drill, could be used for interculture operations. Yes, why not? They can be used. for this in all the areas for that matter. But if you are talking of the areas of soil in which you have to use, particularly for cultivation, for field preparation as well, then you will have to be careful. But otherwise, this can have use everywhere except the in the difficult soils. It will have problem because you require more strength of the whole of the equipment to traverse through the soil, and therefore you will require high power, high horsepower tractor, and only for that reason you will not be able to use your small tractor, because small tractors will have small horsepower within 18 horsepower or so. Okay. So, that is why you should be careful. Otherwise, for other operations except that tilling and field preparation, you can use it for all operations everywhere in the country, I suppose. Of course, I am not talking of hill regions and difficult regions as such, but I think plains, I think there should not be any problem. I have a query how to find growth rate of plants, any devices. Yeah, growth rate of plants, of course, you can think of a artificial machine, you can see the growth. Now, artificial intelligence and machine learning is beautiful in the sense that you have to have large volume of data. Friends, remember, large volume of data you have to have. So, initially you will have to do this task of creating the data, and once this data is there, you can write an algorithm, and then the equipment or the device will tell you that what is the growth of the plant over a period of time. You will have to manually do it. You can think of image processing equipment attached at that and see what is the changes which is taking place in the size of the leaf, growth of the plant, breadth of the plant, and etc., that you can think of. Yeah, and the devices, I do not know whether any device is already made for finding out these details, but then you can always think of using this technology for having equipment like this. People might have tried somewhere in some papers, you may find that somebody has found out a device, and that could be only that he has seen the images and he is taking the images over a period of time and seeing that okay, the breadth of the leaves or size of this is changing or the color is changing. So, you can know that what is the growth rate taking place in the whole plant. Best suitable institute for master in agriculture engineering. Well, best institute, I think it depends on what you are thinking of. IIT Kharagpur is definitely the best one in that. You will find many of the teachers at different colleges or different universities in the country, including ICR institutes, are a product of this Department of Agriculture and Food Engineering at IIT Kharagpur. So, why not? You should, I would say that you should prefer first IIT Kharagpur, and then of course, you do not get here, then you can think of other places like IRI, you can think of Pantnagar, you can think of Punjab Agriculture University and Coimbatore and all that. There are places where you can do, but then the best, if you talk, we will definitely say IIT Kharagpur is the best. Can we use sensors finding soil fertility rate and use drones for sensing crop productivity? Of course, these are everything can be done, friends. Please do not think that anything is impossible. Everything can be done with this, and sensors can be used for finding out each and every parameter. You have to have large volume of data collection, writing the algorithm and creating. Remember, these are things. A sensor has to be there. The sensor will take it will recognize the problem, analyze the problem, then try to take a decision on that and communicate that decision. And if that communication, if that device is to for movement, it also adds movement in these aspects of recognition, taking a decision, communication and movement, then it becomes a robot. So, in fact, we are also trying to use a robot for harvesting cotton, because you have seen that it is difficult to harvest cotton manually. It is done, and see the hands of the ladies who are involved in cotton harvesting. So, you can use, why not? In fact, sensors are the future. So, you must read about sensors, you must take courses in this area from different branches of engineering and try to learn more and more. There is it's not that only you have to be an electronics engineer to do that. In fact, the agriculture engineer is the best position to learn those things and apply here. directly we can see the effect of that. You can see the effect of your use. You can take help of your friends for what is the type of sensor used, what is the limitation of the sensor, what is the cost of the sensor, and how it can be positioned, etc. Why not program organize agriculture engineering student like other branches student? Why not? Why not any program organized for agriculture engineering student like other branches of students? I do not understand what you mean by this program, but I think there is a program here at IIT Kharagpur. We say Prakriti. I think there is a program Prakriti which our students organize, and they have various types of events organized, and they bring or invite the students, agriculture engineering students from nearby colleges and universities, and they have fun out of learning as well at IIT Kharagpur. Maybe this year it was not possible. In 2020 it was selected in April, and you know that because of the pandemic lockdown took place, and hence it was not possible, but then it is done. I cannot see any question. It appears that there is another question here. Yeah, if you use advanced technology machinery and lease it for farmers, then we can solve the problem of small farmers who are more in India. Yes, that is what in fact this is what I said, that because I mean the small farms are large in number. I think these people should come together and then think of owning a set of machines. They need not depend on somebody else, I would say, but this yeah, you can lease it for farmers, advanced technology machinery, and lease it for farmers. Yeah, that is what exactly I am saying, that a group can create a set of machines for different crop rotations, depending on what crop rotation you want, whether you are talking of cereal crops, root crops, you are talking of orchard crops, you are talking of fruits, vegetables, any crop for that matter. You will have to have the equipment, and why not lease them? Lease in the sense that rent them, and then you will be able to get business, employment generation, and they will get the thing done in much less time without owning an equipment, without storing equipment, without taking care of that equipment and all that. So, it will be cheaper, and this is the thing which is going to happen in future as well. When you are talking of high-ended technology being used, the cost will be slightly higher as compared to that, but because of its quality of work done and the speed at which it is done, these machines will be utilized. Problems. Okay, why not? Why NIT any program organize agriculture engineering students for their motivation? Why in NIT any program? Why not any program organized for agriculture engineering students for their motivation? No, I don't understand what exactly you mean by motivation. Why should you get demotivated? In fact, this is a virgin land. You see, here anything that you want to do, and I can tell you that many of the non-agriculture engineering graduates are taking up, when hackathons are there, they will pick up the agriculture engineering problems and try to solve using their mechanical engineering knowledge or electronics knowledge or electrical engineering knowledge. So, in fact, it is just the other way around. You should be better motivated straight away. See that those people are motivated because they do not have a problem in their own field, they are trying to solve the problem using their technology. So, you should get motivated, and you should not feel bad about it, think big about it and try to solve this problem. You have seen the farmers are go to the nearby areas and see what is the problem of the farmers. There is a problem of storage of the crop, there is a problem of transportation. You think of small carts which can be transported, you can think of a e-rickshaw, you can think of a e-market, so many things you can create here and help the farmers and generate income for yourself, for your group, your system, and also the farmer will be benefited well in time. So, how to prepare for MPT examination and to our best in it. Yes, I think I hope I will be again talking to you, and even if I am not talking to you, I can tell you that you know the percentage of portion which is covered in your whole evaluation process. I think 25% will be from the assignments, and then other portions which are there in the examination 75%. And the arrangement is that you must go through all the lectures, you must go through all the assignments, go through the details of the assignments, see the problems which are there and try to understand the concepts. See, you must think of concepts. You will not find a regular question and their answer available in any book and all that. It will be all the concepts. If you have understood the concepts, you will be able to answer even subjective questions which will be asked. And hence try to understand that. Please remember, it is not for rote learning. What we want you to grasp the whole concept and learn it, which you can employ anywhere for that matter. Remember that you are agriculture engineer and you cannot apply somewhere else. You can use your tractor or your earth moving machinery for reclamation of land, for a building construction, or for aerodrome construction, or anywhere else. If there is a mining industry, a lot of mined landfills are available. Try to see that if you can utilize that area and make that area green. You think of the crops to be used, you think of fruits and vegetables to be grown in that area, think of automation, think of modern equipment to be utilized in those areas, and why not? So, I think you can still do that and prepare well and think positive. You will do the best. Thank you. I want to study my PhD in IIT Kharagpur. How can I get opportunity? I am from Ethiopia. Yeah, you don't worry about that. If you are in Ethiopia, no problem. Anywhere from the world, you are most welcome. You have to write to the to IIT Kharagpur, to the Dean of the IIT Kharagpur, that I am interested in this with all your details. And after you get an admission, then through the government, of course, you will have to take a clearance, which generally you get a clearance, but because we do not have a bad relation with your country, Ethiopia. So, I am sure you will get this thing. And well, we will welcome anybody from anywhere in the world, no problem. I think this is what I wanted to share with you, and hope that if I do not meet you any next time for the third session, if I meet, it is fine. If I do not meet, I wish you all the best and hope that we will be able to learn from each other. You can see my email ID. If you have any other questions, if you have clarifications, you can write directly to my email address, and we will be able to solve the problem with this. Thank you very much.